Today, I am here with author and illustrator Cece Bell, who is the author of this book, and this book, and this book. Cece, welcome to Let's Talk Books. I'm so glad you're here in DC with me at the library.
Thank you for having me, Meg.
So what book have you brought with you today for me?
I have brought Ed Emberley's Drawing Book of Animals. And this book and all of Ed Emberley's books were very important to me as a kid because they made drawing into something that was very, very doable. And so basically, the book says in the beginning, if you can draw these shaped letters, numbers, and things, you will be able to draw all the animals in this book. And so the shapes are just super simple, just letters and numbers and shapes. And he gives you these very easy guidelines to take basically nothing into something. And so over and over again, you are drawing all of these animals, and it is the greatest confidence booster of all time. And it's maybe the reason I'm sitting here across from you today is Ed Emberley's book, this book, and many others like it.
Did you like to draw even as a little kid? Were you afraid at the beginning?
No, I always loved it. But then there were also books out there that said things like how to draw realistic animals and how to draw, realistic horses and how to draw buildings. And I found those books really overwhelming and boring. It's like you couldn't do as much with a realistic horse than you could with a cartoon horse. And there was something about just being able to go through those steps and the control you had over those steps that was a way my life sort of felt difficult for a while with my hearing loss. And it felt like this is something that I can have control over. Follow these steps one by one, and you end up with magic. It was a great way to figure out how process works. Do these things one by one day at a time, and all of your problems will be solved.
Yeah.
And it felt like I'm solving all of my problems and learning how to draw.
A porcupine,
Yeah.
a proper porcupine.
It was an amazing, it was the only book, this book and all of his other books were the only books that I checked out from my school library.
So what made you turn to your memoir, to writing your own story and using this kind of art to tell it?
That book in particular is maybe the only book that I have that's a mid-grade novel. And the reason I wrote the book was around the time that I turned 40, I had the realization that I still was not comfortable talking about my deafness and my hearing loss and my hearing aids. I couldn't even say the words, I'm deaf. I couldn't say, could you please repeat that? There was a lot of shame around it that didn't really need to be there. And I was very frustrated with myself for not being able to talk about it. So the book was a way for me to talk about it without talking about it and feeling like if I just put this out into the world, then everyone will know, or at least those people who have read the book, and that ice will be broken. And the book really didn't do that for me. It was like my own kind of therapy without a therapist. I just wrote it all down and I drew the pictures. The graphic novel part of that was important because I needed to take advantage of, or I wanted to take advantage of the speech balloons. And the speech balloons in the book were a way for me to show what the hearing loss was like. For example, if I couldn't hear the other person who was speaking to me in a panel, then that speech balloon is empty. If I don't understand what they're saying because I'm a lip reader, and when I don't see someone's face that sounds like gibberish, then those words are gibberish in the speech balloon. So it was just the perfect medium to tell the story about this is what hearing loss is like. And I think it helped kids see, or especially hearing kids, get a better understanding of how important communication is and how difficult it is when you have trouble communicating.
You do have, though, this wild, rangy mind. And I'm thinking of your current book. You have an alphabet book that is also deeply about music, and you're also a musician and so on. It has a YouTube component. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
So this book is an alphabet book and a book about music, and it's basically made up album covers from A to Z and alphabetized by music genre and by animal. So they are animal musicians playing instruments, all these different genres from about 1940 to maybe 1985, when album or actual records were something that every kid played on a record player. And every album has lots of alliteration on it. All the song titles from each album are alliterative. And then every album has a song that's been pulled out of the album, and lyrics have been written for that song.
Lyrics by CC Bell.
Yes, that's right. And so just as a book, it works as sort of a poetry book, an alphabet poetry book. But while I was making it, I felt like, well, this is still about music. I need actual music. And so I ended up reaching out to many musician friends, and those friends have friends, and those friends have friends. And after a while, I had 62 musicians at my beck and call, and we produced 26 songs in all these different genres, and they are all accessible on a website that you can get to on a QR code and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was a giant project. And then I thought, well, music videos are fun. So I made music videos with costumes and puppets and animation, and it has been probably the most joyful and maybe even more than El Defo, the most important project of my whole life.
And why is that?
It was so fun.
Why is it the most important project?
It's a reflection of who I am, and it's just me more than anything.
You're amazing. CC, thank you so much for coming to the library today and being with me. I'm so glad that you're going to be part of Let's Talk Books. Thanks, friend.
Thank you.